ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਦੇ ਭਾਸ਼ਣ ਵਿੱਚ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਹੁਣ ਹਰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਪ੍ਰੈਸ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਿਆ ਕਰਨਗੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਬਹੁਤ ਸਾਰੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੰਮਾਂ ਤੇ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਮੁੜ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਲਈ ਤੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਐਲਾਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੋਵੇਗਾ ਉਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਕਾਨਫਰੰਸ ਕੁਝ ਦਿਨ ਬਾਅਦ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾਇਆ ਕਰੇਗੀ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਹਫ਼ਤਾ ਕਾਫੀ ਖਾਸ ਹੈ। 1 ਜੁਲਾਈ ਨੂੰ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਡੇ ਦੇ ਜਸ਼ਨ ਮਨਾਏ ਜਾਣੇ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੀ ਨਾਫਟਾ ਸੰਧੀ ਦੇ ਤਹਿਤ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਨਾਫਟਾ ਦੀ ਨਵੀਂ ਸੰਧੀ ਹੋਈ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਹੋਂਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵੀ ਆਵੇਗੀ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਮਰੀਕਾ, ਮੈਕਸੀਕੋ ਤੇ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦਰਮਿਆਨ ਵਪਾਰਕ ਸਬੰਧਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਹੋਰ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤੀ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ। ਤੇ ਇਸ ਦਾ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਚਲਾਏ ਜਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਵੀ ਕੈਨੇਡੀਅਨਸ ਦੇ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਧਿਆਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਾਵੇ ਤੇ ਖਾਸ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੌਜਵਾਨ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਲ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ canada.ca ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਮਰ ਜੌਬਸ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਲ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਉੱਥੇ ਹਜ਼ਾਰਾਂ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਮੌਜੂਦ ਨੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਵੱਖੋ-ਵੱਖਰੀਆਂ ਨੌਕਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਅਪਲਾਈ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਨੇ। ਤਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਇੰਪਲੋਇਰਸ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਕਿਹਾ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਖੁਦ ਨੂੰ ਰਜਿਸਟਰ ਵੀ ਕਰਨ, ਜੇਕਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਤਾਂ ਉਹ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਤੋਂ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਮ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਰੱਖਣ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਆਰਥਿਕਤਾ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੜ ਤੋਂ ਲੀਹ ਤੇ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮਦਦ ਮਿਲੇਗੀ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਕਾਮਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੜ ਤੋਂ ਕੰਮ ਤੇ ਰੱਖਣ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੇਜ ਸਬਸਿਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਦੀ ਮਦਦ ਵੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲਈ ਜਾਵੇ।
Bonjour tout le monde. Hello everyone. Since the beginning of the crisis, our government has been focused on keeping Canadians safe and making sure people are supported during this challenging time. And as we move into the summer, this work continues. While we've made good progress over the past few months, the virus remains a very serious threat to our health. And with parts of the economy shut down for many months, a lot of people need help getting back on their feet. So we're going to continue helping in every way we can. Our government has launched new programs and made new investments to help businesses reopen safely, get people back on the job, and lay the groundwork for our economy to come roaring back. If you own a business and you're struggling with cash flow, you can get a loan through the Canada Emergency Business Account to bridge to better times. If you're a student or a recent grad looking for a job, we've created thousands of new work placements through Canada Summer Jobs and the Student Work Placement Program. And if you're an employer and you need help to bring back your staff, the Canada Emergency Wage Subsidy is there for you through this summer. In every part of the country, business owners are stepping up and hiring back their staff, from Brook Signs in Brantford, Ontario, to Anchor D Guiding and Outfitting in Turner Valley, Alberta. And moving forward, our government will help even more businesses bring back their workers. The federal government intends to extend the Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance by another month, and we're working with the provinces and territories to do just that. This program is helping thousands of small businesses across the country save on rent. We know that many business owners are struggling with cash flow right now, so we're working on a solution. With summer officially here, I know a lot of people are wondering what to expect for the coming months. So this afternoon, Dr. Tam and Dr. New will release the latest public health modelling. We'll have more details then, but here's the main takeaway from these projections. After a very challenging spring, things are continuing to move in the right direction. We still have some hot spots in some parts of the country, but nationally, the number of cases, hospitalizations, and deaths is declining over time. And that's because Canadians are doing their part. You took this seriously. You followed public health instructions and made sacrifices so we could get this virus under control. Over the coming weeks, we're going to keep regularly updating Canadians on how this virus is progressing, as we have since the beginning of this crisis, including with the latest numbers continuing to be published every single day. As we move into this new phase, however, Dr. Tam, Dr. New, and I will provide an update on the pandemic a few times a week instead of every day when we have briefings or information to share. I want to stress, though, that while we're on the right track, the fight against COVID-19 is not over yet. As we start to reopen parts of the economy, we must continue to follow local public health guidelines to keep each other safe. With Canada Day right around the corner, we have another busy week ahead of us. In addition to our ongoing response to COVID-19, the new NAFTA will come into force on Wednesday. With trade between NAFTA members valued at nearly $1.5 trillion in 2018, we can't overstate how vital it is to maintain free and fair trade between our three countries. Millions of jobs depend on a strong and stable relationship with our partners. This deal secures access to the North American market for our business owners, entrepreneurs, and consumers. It removes uncertainty for our manufacturers, our investors, and our workers. This deal is good for Canada and good for Canadians. Obviously, we're going to continue to put the safety of Canadians at the very top of our priority list, which is why we have extended the border measures with the United States until July 21st. And we will continue to assess the situation, work with the Americans on what steps need to be taken into the month of August. What the situation we're seeing in the United States and elsewhere highlights for us is that even as our economy is reopening, we need to make sure we are continuing to remain vigilant, individually and collectively. That means continuing to wear masks when we can't keep 2 meters apart, continuing to be careful about coming into contact with people, continuing to practice what the public health officers are recommending in your regions. We need to continue to be careful even as we reopen so that we don't lose all the significant progress we've made through some very difficult sacrifices by Canadians over the past months. Oh, I think there's certainly plenty of things we would have done differently, some things we might have done a little sooner, some things we might have done a little later. But we've spent very little time analyzing, wishing we'd done things differently. Those reflections, of course, are ongoing and will continue to be ongoing so that we're better positioned for a potential second wave and moving forward. But throughout, we have done our very best every step of the way to make sure that Canadians were supported. And on that measure, we were successful in terms of the support to the CERB for over 8 million Canadians who needed it. We were able to support families who then were able to lock down, and that helped us get to the place we are right now of an extremely flattened epidemiological curve. We know that there's lots more work to do, and we're going to continue learning from what we did well and what we perhaps could have done better. But in general, I think certainly when we compare to other countries and when we look at what the OECD said about Canada having had a rapid and substantive response, we know that we've done pretty well. We went into this pandemic with one of the best balance sheets in the G7, and we were therefore able to give people the support necessary as we get through. As always, we will prepare ourselves for the worst possible scenarios, but we will hopefully see the best possible scenarios. We know that we're going to be working very, very hard to continue the testing, the contact tracing, including across all provinces. We'll be rolling out an app soon that will be an extra layer of support for Canadians to be able to keep themselves safe. But on top of that, we also know that if we do get hit in certain regions or across the country in the fall, we will be able to respond with sufficient fiscal room to be able to do that. We continue to engage in consular cases around the globe. The situation in Syria continues to be extremely dangerous. There are countries that have presence on the ground in Syria. Canada is not one of those countries. We will continue to ensure that we're keeping as a priority the protection of Canadians working abroad, particularly in this COVID context, but in every context. Obviously, I think it's important that people continue to follow public health advice. Even as we are loosening population controls, loosening rules around businesses and leaving home, it's going to be really important that individuals continue to behave carefully and in responsible ways. Our local public health officials are encouraging continuing to keep 2 meters distance. When you can't keep that 2 meters distance, to wear a mask. Certainly that's the choice that I'm making in order to keep myself and others safe. It is going to be really, really important that everyone remains attentive and vigilant to their own behaviors so that we can prevent a second wave from arriving, as we've seen in many places around, we're beginning to see in places around the world, but also so we can minimize any wave if it does hit. It's on Canadians individually, and that's why I have tremendous confidence, because we've seen how Canadians have acted and reacted over these past months, which has allowed us to get to this next phase. We're moving forward on a renewed NAFTA that achieved many important gains for Canadians. Protections on intellectual property, protections for our auto industry, protections on cultural industries, which was extremely important right across the country, not just in Quebec. But most important of all, we secured Canada's access to the world's largest market in a privileged way at a time of protectionism and uncertainty. And that is something that makes a huge difference for Canadians and for Canadian businesses, and indeed for investors around the world, that Canada continues to have protected and privileged access to the United States. In regards to aluminum, we have heard, obviously, the musings and proposals from the United States that perhaps there needs to be more tariffs on aluminums. What we simply highlight is the United States needs Canadian aluminum. They do not produce enough, nowhere near enough aluminum in the States to be able to fill their domestic manufacturing needs. Therefore, if they put tariffs on Canadian aluminum, they're simply increasing the costs of inputs, necessary inputs to their manufacturing base, which will hurt the American economy. Again, we see that our economies are so interlinked that punitive actions by the United States administration end up hurting Americans the same way they end up hurting Canadians. That's why we will continue to advocate for continued free and fair trade between our two countries in a relationship that has been extraordinarily beneficial to our two countries for many, many decades.